Doesn't it feel like a really long time since the pool stages? Just 2 months ago, we were all frothing at the mouth at the thought of seeing Japan score a few fancy tries against Russia, little knowing of the glory and entertainment that awaited. 2 months ago, to all of us, Uruguay were whipping boys, Japan were novel outsiders, the All Blacks were unstoppable, and South Africa were merely contenders. It feels, and especially a long time ago, however, since Ireland were also a side in that conversation. They kicked things off with a huge win over Scotland that was just absolutely comprehensive. They just dismantled Gregor Townsend's team, allowing them absolutely nothing. There's been a lot of talk in this post-mortem on every team since the World Cup finished as to whether or not Ireland peaked perhaps a year too soon, something even Joe Schmidt himself brought up. However, I think there's a question worth asking as to whether or not they just peaked 6 weeks too soon. This wasn't the best, but it was perhaps the most Joe Schmidt, the most designed and controlled performance I've seen from Ireland during Schmidt's entire tenure. This was a big game, and there was an absolute precision in how they executed. It was all of the ideas Ireland had been trying to preach over the last few years, I've broken down previously, just executed perfectly. And they just stopped Scotland executing anything. Defensively, they just shut Scotland down. Townsend's tactics teeter between two types, but Ireland took them tacitly through tantrums. Both of these kinds are built around utilising their incredibly high skill level, either through design called practice set moves or freeform jamming, playing a Fiji-style system designed to dismantle a game and break all play down into an open madcap encounter. We saw this as they just let rip against Russia. Adam Hastings was pretty outstanding, and the boy, George Horne, scored a hat-trick in a game that I'm not going to do any analysis on. Scotland were pretty good. Russia had a few typically them moments of really deliberately entertaining shithousery, but they just looked pretty tired on the whole, and unfortunately the Russians couldn't cap things off with another score of their own. But in the end, it was just Scotland's chance to run riot and violently project mad shit all around the field. But Ireland decreed from minute one, there shall be no mad shit here today. And they put the nappy, the diaper, very firmly over Scotland's anus and then choked Scotland inwards, just constricting it tighter and tighter. They flooded them backwards as the Scots tried to build any platform, and they got up amongst the players trying to execute those skill plays, shaking the Scotland system so severely the Scots screamed stop so supersonically that something happened. Errors were forced and Ireland executed in response. They scored 4 tries through sheer proper precision, just as Joe Schmidt likes. They weren't far off that precision against Samoa either. Despite a red card to Bundy Aki, they dismantled the Islanders, who were, frankly, and I hate to say this, but probably the most disappointing team in the tournament. I've gone into why this is in detail with songs before, but they only ever really looked interesting giving away penalties, whereas Ireland were in the mood and on a mission. They took what they needed with relative ease, and we also got to see Tyke Furlong rampage over the line for a second time this tournament. This wasn't a truly awful campaign from Ireland, but they'd be very right to be disappointed. It was below the standards they set themselves, the standard fans have come to expect entirely fairly, and the standards, most importantly, that Joe Schmidt, over his 6 years in charge, has come to expect, demand, and frankly, deserve. However, Samoa did have a contender for the title of the most disappointing team in the form of the USA. I'd hyped this side up quite a bit in the build-up, so to see them not deliver was really quite a letdown. And they capped it off with a really underwhelming showing against a Tonga side that they really should have put away. And early on, it looked like they would, as Mike Teo, the winger who runs like a reversing dump truck, crossed the line for 2 tries. The first of these 2 tries showed exactly why I was so initially impressed with them. They turned the ball over and then just watch how every player was on the same page. Their instinct is to get the ball out to touchline where there's most likely to be space. And then they do all of this and they work the overlap incredibly well. They get it out to the other side. Communication is really clear. Look at the players picking good lines and running good support and running better ones off each other. Even the players that don't touch the ball know exactly what they're doing. It's off turnover, instinct, but this is a try that only a team who are well drilled and intimately familiar with each other and how they all play scores. Even his second is just good execution. Teo holds his whip really well and Tonga kind of scramble and panic. Lola here cuts in early trying to hit Big Will Hooley, but it's no worry, he throws a great pass to put the man whose shirt would make more sense if either of the numbers on the back of it fell off in the corner. But for every one of those moments, there was a few more like this. The USA clearly here have a strike play involving using World Player of the Year nominee Joe Tafete as a carrying threat whilst playing out of the back as planned, but Tonga disrupt them all, they wreck the whole thing, and the USA don't know quite how to jam, they don't know what to do in this situation. And so, World Player of the Year nominee Tafete chucks it wide, having thought about carrying first himself, but the backs aren't set for it. They're super lateral, and it just results in an awful pass here that kind of caused all plans to go to pot. But ultimately, this game belonged to Tonga's retiring captain and a man who has really done a lot for Tongan rugby, Siali Piatel. On the quiet, he's had a very good tournament for Tonga and was hugely deserving of the Man of the Match award. Tonga didn't quite finish this off, but this break by Vianu is made by Piatel's offload, one so smooth I wouldn't feel bad about terming it silky. And then he sealed things with this try of his own. Very nicely taken, just really good awareness. And then followed things up following this lovely score by Toulouse Vianu by nailing a farewell conversion. A perfect end to a career of nothing but often thankless graft. Great player, and great to see him go out in such style. Hello, you join me and your guy prop Juan Pedro here to thank you for watching. It isn't actually one reason, it's a pig, it's Ham from Toy Story, but a really big one. To thank you for watching my roundup of 4 more pool games. It might have been 5, I've genuinely forgotten at this point, that I missed during the World Cup. I have a few more to go. I'm going to some point in the next week. I'm working on it at the moment. The other pool games I missed, and the bronze final, that's going to be rounded up some point in the next week, even on Twitter and so on, and I'll let people know when that's coming, because in the meantime, also on the channel, I'm re-uploading all of the pool game videos, all of the previous videos during the World Cup I made and didn't get to upload because I had to put them on video for copyright reasons. So they're all going up at the moment. I'm starting the pool with the knockouts rather, and working my way through. So the semi-finals up already, the quarter-finals, or the 2 I covered, will be up in the next couple of days over the weekend. And then beyond that, I'm then going to go back into the pool stages and begin uploading, firstly going through some of the big games, so Uruguay, Brumbies here, against Fiji, and Ireland against Japan, and so on, England against Argentina, and wrap those up and post those, as well as then the roundups will go up as well. As I said, there's another roundup to come. There's then Japan v Scotland is the other one I need to do, as well as 2 of the quarterfinals I need to wrap up. I've started going through those a bit. So they're coming. I have decided to work at my own pace a bit now the World Cup finals done, now the World Cup's over. I hope you all understand, because it has been an absolutely knackering 3 months of me basically having working 10, 12 hours a day every day, if not more than that, since about mid-August, since about I noticed, since about a month out from being flying to Japan, I've pretty much been entirely focused on this. So forgive me if I've got a moment's excitement, because I actually, as I was recording this, the door knocked, and it was the postman delivering what is presumably this. So that's where my next day is going, whilst also finishing the video on the rugby. Good, that'll do. I've rambled more than enough right now. Hopefully you enjoyed what you just saw. Hopefully you enjoy the 3 or 4 more to come, and hopefully enjoy the ones that are going up. There may be some you've missed, there's some that are taken out of Vimeo that haven't managed to upload elsewhere, and so on. So hopefully you enjoy those, and I'm going to stop, give Rombies a cuddle, and go and pick Sobble as my starter.